The Farmers Strike Together, spearheaded by. Did I say the Farmers Strike Together? The Farmers Strike Today, spearheaded by the National Farmers Union and involving thousands of attendees who are making their way slowly, despite the snow, up to London, represents a significant pushback against Chancellor Rachel Reeves' new inheritance tax policy on agricultural assets. This move, which is set to begin in April 2026, imposes a 20% tax on inherited farms exceeding £1 million, £3 million for married couples, altering the long-standing relief framework that has allowed many family farms to transition through generations since 1984. This tax change strikes at the heart of what farming represents in the UK: heritage, continuity and family. And figures like Joe Hamer of Arscott Farm has voiced concerns that while their current operations may not be directly impacted, the legacy and opportunities for future generations are at risk. And this sense of duty, and of course getting the children to work on the farm, knowing that this will be theirs one day, the sense of duty to their children, to their forebears, underscores the rallying cry of today's protest. The involvement of children, such as Hamer's 6-year-old daughter, emphasises the right and the right fight for a future that preserves these deep-rooted legacies against financial encroachment. From the government's perspective, Reeves positions the policy as a balanced approach, targeting wealthier estates while still supporting public services through increased tax revenue. The Environment Secretary, Steve Reed, reinforces this narrative, saying that only a minority of farms will be impacted, yet dissent within the farming community is palpable. You can feel it. You only have to talk to a farmer. Data from the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs suggests that up to 66% of farms exceed the £1 million valuation, making them liable for this tractor tax. Now, what this does is to split up farms and leave fragments of land around the landscape open to a land grab by building ventures. It allows these mammoth farms to develop. It fragments our palpable hands-on approach to farming. We are losing. We will lose our farms. There's a limit to the size of a farm before it becomes just a plaything. The left-right political divide sharpens within the Conservative Party and the Reform UK, seizing on the moment to bolster rural support, framing the tax as an overreach detrimental to hard-working farmers. Meanwhile, critics on the left argue that the current system, the new system, enables land concentration among wealthy investors, pricing out young, genuine farmers and skewing market dynamics. Both are slightly wrong and both are ideologically driven. The reality is this isn't about how much you can get on a tax. This is about the possibility, the probability of losing intact farms because of a land grab. There are better ways of doing this. If you want to take money, if you want to tax, there are better ways of taxing. The same issue is true of inheritance tax on houses, and it's how some of the larger houses in the countryside have collapsed because they can't be passed on intact. But that perhaps is a reason to is not a reason to get uptight, because you can sort of say, okay, this only affects a small number of aristocratic houses, fine, and the National Trust can pick them up, which it does, but there is no National Trust to support and pick up farms, and maybe there should be. Maybe that is the approach. Beyond politics, the importance of family farms in the UK extends beyond economics. They are vital to rural communities, environmental stewardship, national food security. This protest, which echoes frustration seen in more militant European demonstrations, shows an uncommon unity and willingness to challenge the status quo. Farmers like Ollie Harrison have expressed that after years of losses exacerbated by Brexit, climate volatility and subsidy cuts, this inheritance tax is a blow that could push many over the edge. And people in the comments have been saying, well, farmers voted for Brexit. That's not necessarily true. Some farmers did, they were stupid. But many farmers did not. And unless you have the statistics to prove this absurd claim, you shouldn't be making it. It is absurd. And then we've got the buyer's remorse. Many people voted for Brexit, and they realised they were wrong. It's the point is, farmers suffered during the EU. They suffered particularly from George Eustace's stupidity at the beginning of the last Conservative Party, last Conservative government. Then they suffered from Brexit, and now they're suffering from Labour. It's bang, bang, bang. And there are other issues which are forcing them to suffer as well. The rise in national insurance contributions tax and so on. This is an exhausting pile of problems. So the protest is not just a call for policy change, but an assertion of farmers' roles as guardians of our land and legacy. And they demand acknowledgement that their efforts sustain not just their families, but our country's agricultural backbone. And the day's rally, set against the undercurrent of economic and environmental strain, highlights a crossroads for Britain's agricultural future, and where the government policy will uphold the generational continuity that farmers represent.